Hi, everyone. We are continuing our coverage at the RSA Conference 2024 from Moscone West. I'm Bill Brenner, and I am happy to be here again with my good buddy, Adrian Sanabria, host of Enterprise Security Weekly and principal researcher for the Defense Initiative.
Yep.
So, welcome back.
Thank you.
How's your day going?
It's going pretty good. I'm a little more tired than I wish I was on Monday, but I think I'll make it through the week.
It's hard getting old, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's talk about SaaS security.
Yep.
And talk about what specifically it covers and what it doesn't cover.
Yeah.
Because there are folks in the audience who aren't always sure where that line is.
Right. Well, I mean, as a difficulty, it's kind of vague and blurred, right? You know, like part of the reason I went with SaaS in the first place is to not worry about doing all this stuff myself, not worry about maintaining software, updating it, all the stuff that SaaS makes more convenient for you. But as SaaS has gotten more complex and bigger and integrated into other SaaS and on-prem stuff, and people started pumping their data into it, it got very complex. There's a lot of ways to screw up with security in SaaS, just like in the cloud. And there just hasn't been a whole lot of attention on it. And that's kind of what I want to draw to with this talk. You know, the name of my talk being 2 Steps Forward for SaaS Adoption.
Yep.
You know, SaaS has exploded. It's actually more revenue in SaaS than there is in cloud, which makes sense because, you know, cloud basically enables this. Most SaaS is built on cloud.
Yep. So why doesn't SaaS get more attention from security teams than perhaps you think it should?
And that's really the question of the talk. So I'm asking that question as much as you are. And I suspect from talking to folks that it's because they've already got so much stuff. They have so many legacy issues that are unsolved that SaaS is something most security leaders are aware is a potential problem. But in their mind, it's a smaller potential problem than some of the other stuff they got. You know, they're still looking at their stuff saying, you know, this can cause a 5-year-old or 10-year-old breach. You know, I need to get this nailed down before I even start thinking about SaaS.
Yeah. Talk to me a bit about how security teams protect SaaS if they're not even aware they're being targeted or attacked.
Yeah, so most SaaS security platforms, and there's kind of a debate over this, right? Like if we go back to the CASB days, you know, before a lot of those companies got acquired and like Netscope turned into a SASE vendor, a lot of the CASB, step one was discovery. You know, it was let's look at your proxy logs, look at your firewall logs, and at least make a list of everything, all the SaaS that your employees are using. And, you know, this time around, it's a little bit different. Some of them are doing that. If you look at, like, nudge security and push security, they are still making a list of all. They're discovering shadow IT as one of the approaches. But some of the others are saying, actually, let's go after the kind of the heart of it, Google Workspace. Most companies are built around Google Workspace or Microsoft 365. Let's start there before we start worrying about the long tail of all these niche SaaS applications being used.
Got it. Now, when is your talk?
It's Thursday, 9:40 a.m. Here in Moscone. I forget the exact room, but here at 9:40.
Upstairs.
Pretty easy to find. Yeah.
Got it. I have to ask the AI question. When it comes to SaaS, is there anything to really connect there?
For SaaS security, I mean, little things maybe, but you know, not a whole lot. A lot of it's configuration management, looking at sharing settings, things like that. Looking at trying to figure out the. We don't really need new methods to do any of this. We just need attention and focus on it. If 1% of your users don't have MFA enabled, more or less. You know, if somebody wants to attack you, they can find that 1%. It doesn't matter that the other 99 are, if somebody really wants to target you. So If you have open S3 buckets, for example, again, that goes over more to the CSPM side. And that's another interesting problem is, where's the line between cloud security posture management and SaaS security posture management? There is a little bit of overlap there. So instead of your S3 buckets, it's going to be your share with anyone with the link, Google Drive, OneDrive, almost every, even Notion, almost every application you can pump your company data into makes it easy for employees to share that data.
Now, talk a little bit tell us about the Defenders Initiative.
Yeah.
How it took root.
Yeah.
What the goals are.
Yeah, so this is my own independent thing, and the goal of this is I wanted a name to kind of collect all my research under. So a lot of people know me for my research. There's a common myth that companies go out of business because of cyber attacks. Not true. I mean, it does happen, but it's so extraordinarily rare. It's like maybe 1 or 2 a year. 4 on a crazy year. 4 companies total. And they're all small companies, and that doesn't mean that companies don't get hurt, but it's a rare thing. So that's a myth I've kind of gone after. I've given talks on it, and I do a lot of other research, post-mortem research into breaches, understanding why companies fail. And I needed a brand to kind of house all that work I was doing. So I own the domain names and everything, and eventually that's where I'm going to pull together all the research I've done over the last decade plus and make it available. And really the goal is helping defenders prioritize, at a much higher level than, do we really need all these vendors' products? Do we, what should we be worrying about? And that's fueled by this research into how do breaches actually happen? And a lot of it's companies already had all the products that they needed. They had the people, they had the budget, but everything was misconfigured. Processes were terrible. Nobody was really trained on stuff. Like finding a tiny Java library in a large environment's not an easy problem. If you've never tried to do that before, when a new struts vulnerability, a log4j vulnerability comes out, you're going to be finding out if you can do it for the first time. And most people couldn't. So that kind of stuff, trying to surface that stuff, and just open information to help defenders kind of understand where their focus is best spent, where their time is best spent.
Exciting. So you're doing this by day, host of Enterprise Security Weekly by late afternoon.
We've had special editions of Enterprise Security Weekly that pull this data in. So you've been seeing Defenders Initiative stuff all this time. It just hasn't been branded that. Yeah.
Very good. Well, I'm excited to see you getting this off the ground.
Yeah, thank you.
And, having known you as long as I have, it's great to see you pulling all of this together.
Yeah.
And looking forward to seeing what you do next.
Thank you.
So,
thank you. Appreciate it.
So we'll be back. Before we go, though, just a note to keep following our coverage. You can visit securityweekly.com/RSAC. And we'll be back.